Ros-Lehtinen. She fled Cuba with her family when she was just 8 years old, came to the U.S., became the first Hispanic woman to serve in Congress. She's also been an ardent critic of the Castro regime. Congresswoman Lehtinen, you, as we know, oppose normalization of relations between the U.S. and Cuba. How about this Pope visit to Cuba? Do you see that as a positive?
I do. I'm glad that the Pope is going to Cuba. Because of the Castro's disastrous policies through the years, the Cuban people have nothing. So the Pope will bring them a message of faith, of hope, of optimism. And the Cuban regime has learned how to live with popes. At first they were very fearful, but popes have come, popes have gone. The Castro regime continues. Now remember that Fidel was a student at Belen Jesuit School in Havana when he took over illegally in 50. One of the first things he did is kicked out, expelled the Jesuit priests. He outlawed Christmas. You could not celebrate the birth of Christ, incredibly enough. But now he welcomes the Pope. Why? Because he knows that it's not a threat to their iron grip and power. And that's what people have to understand. If you don't challenge the status quo, you're a wonderful visitor to Cuba. If you're going to challenge the Castro's grip, then they're not going to allow you to come back in. So they're not challenged by the Pope.
Let me ask you this. I wonder, this kind of trip, this kind of visit to Cuba for the president, Raul Castro, for Fidel Castro, it's a bit of a feather in their cap, diplomatically. Do you think that there's a danger in that it bolsters a regime that you see as an authoritarian regime and maybe glosses over its record?
Oh, absolutely. There is nothing for a disastrous, horrible, sadistic communist regime like the Castro brothers better than to have the Pope come and bless their country and bless the people, because it makes them look like a real international player, like they're just another country. Oh, going to Havana, check. Going to New York, check. Going to Washington, Philadelphia, it's just another city on the itinerary, and it almost makes it look like the Pope is saying, what you're doing is great. Now, what people don't know is that in this past year, what has happened since the president announced diplomatic relations with Cuba, there has been more repression, more arrests, 4,000 arrests of human rights dissidents, and what we've seen are more rafters coming to the United States. Just last week, we had rafters come. They did not get the memo from the Pope or Obama saying that everything is great in Cuba. They want to come here where there's freedom.
Let me ask you this. The Pope, of course, coming to the U.S. on Tuesday. He'll be here for a number of days. He's going to address Congress. I know you're going to be there. He is not shy.
Excited.
He's not shy, as we know, in speaking truth to power, scolding perhaps a bit. And you know his comments in his latest encyclical criticized the U.S. economy, wealth disparity, etc. Are you expecting him to scold the U.S., scold Congress a bit in that address?
Well, not any more than President Obama does every time he does a joint session of Congress. We get scolded also. I'd rather take it from the Pope than from President Obama. So, yes, I know the Pope is an anti-capitalist. I love capitalism. Having come from a communist country, I think capitalism is great. And I wish that he would speak more about his pro-life views and human rights. But he can speak about whatever he wants to speak. We can take it. He's a man of God, the servant of God here on earth. So I will not be getting into a grudge match with the Pope. He wins, I lose, I'm fine with that. But remember, we all have different missions. The Pope's mission is not to safeguard America's security. That's our mission in Congress and the American people. So we have different missions. I'm not going to criticize him for saying things that I don't agree with. He's a man of faith, a man of God, and to God what is God's, and to Caesar what is Caesar. I'm in the world of Caesar. He's in the world of God. And we hope that they meet sometimes by advancing good things in humanity.
Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, we know you're going to be there. We're going to be there at every stop as well for the Pope's visit. Great to have you on
today. I'm psyched.
Today.
Thank you, Jimbo. Thanks.